I'll tell you and show you a little bit more about where I'm standing here. All right, we got a new guy over here. What's up? I'm going to hit play on the space bar, and we're going to see a little scene play out behind me. Oh, okay, well, we're back in action. Today is our virtual set visit, our virtual behind the scenes of the latest video that I'm working on. It's called the CutScene. That's right, it's a very meta video. As you can see, we're in a cinematic. And well, that's what the video is about. It's about well, everyone's experienced this who's played games. You run around in a shooter game, you get shot a million times, and suddenly a cutscene happens, and a character pulls out a gun, and they're like, whoa, freeze, and you're like, whoa, and you're like, wait a second, I just got a shot, I was just shot 1,000 times, but now I'm suddenly worried about this one character shooting me with one bullet. It's a video, I guess, that's based on that little gag. It's actually kind of similar to a lot of the classic corridor pieces that we've made in the past, where we find ways to adapt stories from video games into live action. Only this time we're taking it into an actual game engine itself. And I kind of think it actually works a little bit towards our strengths a little bit too here, because as we've seen over the last year, there have been incredible developments with Unreal Engine, and it's definitely fostered a really great environment to create something that's a lot more cinematic than you're used to seeing. But ultimately, it is a game engine. And so I think that when you know, I guess for me anyways, as someone going through a lot of trial and error, having something that's quote unquote in a video game really helps us learn and figure this out a little bit more, because thematically, well, we're known for doing these video game adaptations, but from a technical sense, it kind of gives us the leeway to experiment and figure things out. And, you know, if something looks a little bit weird, well, it's okay, because our expectations are set at the bar of a video game. And we're used to seeing bugs and glitches, and we can kind of cut some corners, get away with some things we normally couldn't if it was like a live action piece. So yeah, I guess that's kind of the ethos behind this current project. I think it's actually the very first motion capture / Unreal Engine project that is going to, I guess, be kind of bug-free. As I said earlier, this journey has had a lot of trial and error because of the multitude of ways to accomplish a narrative virtually. Everything from, well, how do I rig a character? Some basic questions like that, to more complex ones like, how do I rig a face? What are blend shapes? How am I incorporating a phone into this? Where am I saving the data? Like, these things are currently being developed still by all sorts of parties. There's not like a true clear workflow, but that's kind of why we're here today, because I'm going to kind of give you a little deeper behind the scenes look at how we're accomplishing all of this. So here I go, sitting down to the old PC. So I'm going to hit stop here. It's not hard to like understand what the promise of virtual productions are. You can be any character you want. You can shoot in any environment you want, utilizing the Unreal Engine, like the Epic Games Marketplace. You can just access a standardized array of locations and characters that are all ready to go. You drop them in, and it's great when you're just focused on that creative task of going, hey, I want a character in a warehouse, and I want him to be in camouflage, and blah, blah, blah. I want to have him have a cool gun or whatever. It really plays towards a person's creative strengths and being able to put this stuff together so quickly. Now, when it comes to the pros and cons, okay, well, all right, let's say you haven't made a virtual production piece or a cinematic narrative in Unreal Engine. That's a lot of people, so don't feel bad if you haven't yet. But there are pros and cons to this workflow, and I think they're pretty apparent. Well, let's start with the cons, because I guess it's a pretty short list. The cons, well, you have to rethink your entire cinematic style. In this world, there's no such thing as like an insert shot. There's no such thing as breaking continuity. The longer your takes, the easier your life is going to be. So when you plan out these pieces, me personally, I like to try and get long takes, treat it like a theatrical production, where it's just people on a stage doing a well-rehearsed scene, and then we find the angles later, all that stuff. You can't go in and say, hey, all right, you're holding a gun like this, and then, oh, well, we want to get an insert shot, so hold it a little more like this. It's like, no, it's like, what's it gonna be? Because that's what I'm gonna do in this scene. And so you have to kind of rethink a little bit of, all right, this is a different shooting style. I kind of like to equate it to like, you have like animated movies, and this is kind of like animation on a like a television scale. You know, it's more like it's the multi-camera sitcom versus the single camera theatrical movie production. And once you get your head wrapped around that, it's pretty easy to start putting pieces together. Let's take a look at what the scene actually kind of looks like too here. I'd love to just show off a little bit too of what some non-live data looks like. So here's a scene. Once again, this is work in progress, but it's a scene where a character is confronting our main character, or I call it a goon is confronting Rambo, our player character. But as you can tell here, this is everything finally working together, processed, everything, lip sync tracks, it all. Whoa! Hey, watch it, little buddy. Say, you're not gonna shoot me with a bullet, are you?
Sure am.
Oh yeah?
Buddy.
Do your best. I can take hundreds.
Yeah, well, we're going, it's only gonna take one.
Oh yeah? Where's that?
Action!
Whoa! Okay, enough of that. That's the fun preview that we all get. But you know, that's kind of like what all this is working towards. That's the end of the line here.